Hello everybody, welcome to another one of our weekly Friday community classes. This week I want to spend a little time talking about the idea and the practice of prayer, what this means in our work with the plant spirits, with various deities associated with plant spirit work, with our ancestors, with maybe other spirits that we may find ourselves in relationship with. First things first, lots of folks who have come out of more dogmatic or elitist religions have some work to do, because we will naturally have sort of an uncomfortable connection with this term. We see it as groveling, begging for the basics, or using prayer as a way to earn the favor or transactional love sort of situation with a deity in order to get from a bad place into a good place, from here to there. And so we really have to unwind the idea that prayer belongs to any one tradition, because what it really is, at its core, is supplication. It's a way for us to communicate, generally one way, with spirit. And so prayer can be very organic and very spontaneous and heartfelt. It can be, formulaic, or one that you write and recite every single day, or one that's been being recited for hundreds or thousands of years. But the idea is that prayer is a way for us to ask, or to create space within ourselves for the spirits to help us. And so in my work, I tend to use prayer, petition, supplication, all sort of interchangeably, but I wanted to use prayer for this class because I know it's a little bit of a hot word for some people. And I think when that comes up, we should look at it. We should, poke at it a little bit and see what's in there. So prayer, to me, is an opening of the heart. It's a way for us to approach our allies, the guardians and the guides who we work with, specific plants, deities, ancestors, other spirits that we are in relationship with, and ask for what we need, which generally for most folks that I work with tends to be just going deeper into the work, strengthening the relationship, strengthening the bonds. And prayer also has sort of a subtle aspect in that when we offer it up appropriately, we create a space inside of ourselves for that need, that petition, to be fulfilled. So we're kind of moving things around and creating space in our lives for the spirits to help us. And how we do that on the surface level is that by asking for help, by stepping up and saying, hey, I need to go deeper into my work, or I need to solve this problem I'm working on, or I need help in this particular aspect of my life, we're recognizing that there's a need for change. And on a psychological level, that creates pliability, plasticity. It kind of helps us go into that squishy space where we're able and willing to change. The spirits can't offer help. They can't catalyze a situation when there's no situation to catalyze. So prayer has to be given around work being done. And this is not an invitation to ask the spirits to do your bidding and then kick back and wait for things to happen. If you are not investing energy into whatever it is that you're asking for help with, there's nothing for them to help with. So people who do spirit work and it's very hands-off kind of thing, and they're sort of hoping that with a couple of offerings and all that suddenly everything in life is going to be taken care of for them, they're sorely mistaken and let down, because that's just not how it works. Which brings me to another really interesting point. Where is the line that separates prayer from magic, prayer from ritual, prayer from charming? For me, there is no difference. Because I practice a sorceress kind of work, everything I do is based on the relationships that I have won with the spirits that I'm in relationship with. Everything. The medicine I make, the magic I make, the ritual I make, everything is based on being in right relationship with my allies. So we can look at more formulaic forms of magic that come out of the grimoire traditions, out of pop witchcraft, folk witchcraft even to a certain degree, although real folk witchcraft does get a little bit more sorcerous, which I appreciate. Recognizing that this work is entirely based on relationships. So if I am crafting a spell or a charm, working with a specific plant that I am trying to call forth their virtues to help me create change in a situation, that's a prayer. That's an ask, a petition, and a supplication. The difference between just prayer and magic, charming ritual is that in the latter, we're given a physical representation of the prayer. We're giving an anchor, a physical place for that prayer to take stronghold in our lives. And that can be a way to channel the prayer's energy into a particular space or around a particular person. Or more often than not, what I've found, it's a way for us to psychologically stay connected to the activated petition. So we've made the request to the ally, and now we're, carrying the charm in our pocket or bathing in herb or fuming them in smoke. And that makes it sort of more real. It brings it more into our side of the hedge, and it really locks in the work that's been done and helps us lean into the process, be open to what's to come, have some trust, have some hope, have some faith even. And so for me, and the way that I work with plant spirits, there is no difference. In fact, I can really give you, sort of in this simple way, the root of how I do all of my sorceress magic, which is that it's all prayer based. It's all me entering into deep, nourished, honest relationships with various plant spirits and working with their virtues through supplication and craft work that asks for the way that they are able to influence, or the particular power or the particular wisdom that they have to channel into my life. So it's very simple, actually, but it does require work. This is not a formulaic situation. When I teach people sorceress magic, it's not, hey, do this herb, this herb, this herb, put them together into a jar, sense it with incense, dip it in red wax, and the spell is done. No, it's a little more based on you approaching that spirit and entering into relationship and creating space for them to communicate with you and to work with you to create the positive change that you want to make. We're never doing any of this work alone. We're never forcing it. We're never doing it by our own virtue. We are mixing our virtue, our power, the way we have talents and gifts and wisdom and powers, mingling that with that of the spirits that we are allied to. And so we are affecting change on our side of the hedge and their side of the hedge simultaneously, which is how we make real, lasting, abiding change. So, prayer. Approach the spirits, lay bare your intentions, be honest. There's no reason to hold anything back, to make it pretty. They appreciate the rawness, the wildness of that kind of prayer. And where I invite people in is just say what needs to be said. Don't worry about writing something in advance. Go sit down with a tree or a plant spirit or a mountain or a river or whoever you're in relationship. Share some breath. Offer your exhalation, receive their exhalation with your inhalation. Get into an alignment, a rapport. Get into their speed. If you're able to interact with them physically, spend some time touching, smelling, just sitting in their space and kind of coming to meet them halfway. And then say what needs to be said. And is my practice to always follow up a prayer, a petition, a supplication with an offering, whether that's an energetic offering or a physical offering, to acknowledge what has been given, acknowledge the experience, and to participate intentionally in the sacred cycle of reciprocity, to give something of yourself, to create space for the spirits to give something of themselves. So it's that simple, and that's where I invite you to start. You can let it unfold naturally from there. So I'm interested, for folks who are doing plant spirit work, what your relationship with the idea of prayer is, where prayer and magic are separate and the same for you, how you approach this topic. Let me know in the comments below what you think, what you feel, what you've tried, and let's talk about it. And until next time.